Alrighty, how's it going, everyone? Welcome back if you're familiar with us, and welcome if you're new. I'm Jonathan with Boston Collectors, and today we'll be unboxing and reviewing Hunter from the Disney Plus series, The Bad Batch. It came just in time before the start of Season 2, right? Let's go ahead and get started. Starting with the cigar wrap, we have the standard information for the product as well as a photo of Hunter. The band is sharing the same color scheme and background as Echo's release. Possibly Darrow in the background? I'm uncertain. Either way, on the left and right side of the band, we have a better way of storing our art boxes, by either displaying it with the information of the figure facing you or the photo depending on the collector. On the back side of the packaging, we have the standard legal information, warnings, product info, and store locations. As usual, the Star Wars logo can be found on the top and bottom of the packaging. Making our way back to the front, the Star Wars logo resting just above the cigar band has a premium feel with a reflective embossed design. The centerpiece of the box shows a slightly modified appearance of the figure we'll be unboxing. The blue striations aren't present on the figure, but you'll see that in a moment. As we open up the packaging, we're greeted with a beautiful montage on the art card. I love the look of this design and hope to see more of these going forward. If you're enjoying our content so far, like this video for us, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for future content. With the art box out of the way, let's go ahead and dive in. Right out of the box, Hunter's pre-equipped with a pair of neutral hands. This is a general design and can be seen on previously released clones. Both hands can be used to hold the sticky detonator as well as the full detonator included in the packaging. We also have one gesturing hand as seen here. Strange though for a tracker and a sergeant. I would have liked something a little more similar to Rex's hands, but I guess Hot Toys wanted us to make it enough. Next, we have a pair of trigger hands. These can be used for the weapons included. One being the pistol, which isn't abnormal in paint application or design. If you've seen one, you've seen them all. Speaking of the pistol, Hunter's pre-equipped with a removable holster. It's a very ingenious design. The holster is attached by Velcro, which is beneath the codpiece. Simply slide the codpiece up and detach it if you aren't a fan of its appearance. When you're done, slide the codpiece down and you're set for a minimal appearance to your figure. On the subject of weapons, we have the DC-17M, an all-new design that we haven't seen before from Hot Toys. While we don't see Hunter with this rifle too often, it's seen quite a few battles based on the grime found throughout the weapon. Some details are missing, such as the ammo count near the ammo clip, but it isn't seen in animation, so I'm not upset about it. Some of us who are familiar with Star Wars Republic Commando also know that the weapon is modular. However, only 2 pieces are, and I'm surprised that it is considering Hunter never did that in the animated series. At least it makes storing it in his backpack a little easier. And as mentioned previously, the ammo clip is also modular. As for the final hand, we're given a right knife gripping gesture. I'd suggest not sliding the knife into his hand directly, but prying it open just enough for it to slide in easier. His knife can be stored in the sheath located on his left forearm, but make sure you're storing it correctly before you do. Otherwise, you may end up breaking it. The tip of the knife should be facing the midsection and click into the sheath. For a better perspective, I'll show you how you can tell if you've done it correctly. If you have to force it in to click, then it's probably not the right way. As for a survival pack, it's a magnetic fit as seen on previous clone releases. And no, the backpack cartridges are not removable. Regardless, the detailing on it is amazing. Not only that, you can open up the survival pack from the top. This can be used to store multiple items from ammo pouches, his DC-17M, perhaps the detachable holster, or maybe even a souvenir from the battlefield. And unfortunately, Echo's communication pack won't magnetize to Hunter. If you happen to have additional accessories laying around from previous releases, chances are Hunter's capable of using them. You'd be surprised what a little imagination can do if you have a pile of accessories at your disposal. And finally, we have the base. The metallic nameplate is attached to it, so I'm happy to see that. The main design is basic and boring. They share the same coloring as Clone Wars Anakin and Echo if you happen to have those in your collection. We're also given a sticker to cover up the base design if you don't really care for it. It's got a premium feel to it through texturing and thickness. If you don't plan to take off the sticker backing, you can hold it down in place with the figure stand. Hunter isn't flying around, so a flight pole was out of the question for this release. Now that we're done though, we can place him on the base in a simple walking pose or whatever fits your collection. If you're familiar with the Clone Wars series, then you're familiar with characters like Jesse, Tup, Rex, Dogma, Hardcase. I can go on. The clones decorate their helmets to show more of their personality, and Hunter's no different. Not only does he have half a skull painted on his, it's a different style helmet altogether. The necessary functions are in place to make him appear as a clone, but like the rest of the Bad Batch, it's his identity. With a specially designed helmet to get the mission done, this is Hunter. Similar to the quote-unquote crude paint application of the 332nd helmets, Hunter's might be a little worse due to seeing so many battles. Unless, of course, Jango didn't have a creative side. For those curious, the ear cups do not detach like they do on the Coruscant Guards, Rex, and the 501st. That was the first thing I looked at, believe it or not. As for the range of motion, due to the armor limitation in the helmet design, he can look up and down in a way that would be considered somewhat lifelike. If using the helmet isn't in your plans, he's capable of holding it at his side. The inside of the helmet isn't fully designed, and oddly enough, there's a skin color peg being used. Overall, Hunter's helmet is really cool, and it captures the light in a beautiful way. We've never seen Hunter in live action, but that didn't keep Hot Toys from delivering yet another beautiful portrait to join the others. Even though Hunter's part of the Bad Batch, that didn't keep Jango's features from coming through. The skull marking on his face really appears as if it were tattooed and not simply painted on. The bandana does a phenomenal job at making Hunter's hair appear as if it's tied down before appearing voluminous at his neck. Even though we don't have the extra layer of hair similar to Bo-Katan, I don't really think it's necessary here. When it all comes together, this is Hunter straight from the animation in somewhat standard lighting. Taking a closer look at his hair, you can see the subtle part in the middle, as well as a few flyaways over his bandana. They really did a beautiful job with this one. As for a quick comparison, we have Hunter and Captain Rex. And we also have Echo. If you're looking to recreate a scene from the show, you won't have a problem. As for the details in the portrait, they're astounding. From the shadows to more controlled lighting, his features come to life. From the lines at the corner of his eyes and the bags beneath him, to the furrowed brow and the cloth-like appearance to the bandana around his forehead. And not to mention, his tattoo looks amazing. Hot Toys did it again. I have nothing but good things to say about his portrait. What are your thoughts on it? Let us know down below. Before we begin, if you happen to have Captain Rex or the Coruscant Guard, this is the exact same body. There's a lot of posability with Hunter, so you'll have fun when it comes to that. We begin with all the nods to his animated appearance from the 99 logo to the nicks and dings found throughout his entire armor design. The black paint also captures the light very nicely. Combined with the worn red markings and his distinct battle damage, you can't mistake the curvature found throughout his armor. As a side note, all of the pieces you see here in this section are dialed in to match what was seen on screen. Sometimes it's difficult trying to figure out what pieces should be turned where, so we went ahead and figured that out for you. Getting back on topic, there's padding found throughout Hunter's body, namely in the shoulders and the midsection. Chances are this is in place to keep his shoulder armor from falling down. As for the lower armor, I've noticed Hunter's feet are engineered a lot better than the previous clones. This works out for those of you who prefer to have him standing without a base. Similar to Echo, Hunter's presence is unmistakable. The only negative I have with mine is the neck joint. It's rather loose considering Captain Rex and Echo's release were a bit more stiff. Perhaps I just got a bad copy. For a quick comparison, you'll notice the red on Echo's armor is a bit brighter. Chances are this is because he's a newer member to the Bad Batch. And like I said before, their armor pieces really are tailored for them and not reused. While some collectors may have a problem with the red paint being a few shades brighter or the markings being a little too different, I don't mind. There are a few similar shapes between the two, which adds continuity between them. And are you really part of the Bad Batch without a skull logo? Also, be careful if you're posing these two without their backpacks on. As of right now, this is shaping up to be one of my favorite displays, and I can't wait for the rest of the Bad Batch. As for comparisons, we have Anakin and Hunter as seen in Season 7 of Clone Wars. These two weren't seen together, but it could work if you wanted it to. We also have Captain Rex seen in Clone Wars and the Bad Batch. And an obvious one. These two look incredible together. Another nod to Clone Wars Season 7, we have Hunter and Commander Cody. Next, we have the Coruscant Guard as seen in the Bad Batch. And a 501st clone. This one stood out to me a little bit due to the reg being slightly taller. Having them stand off against each other, I'd say the 501st appears slightly taller due to the extra piece on top of their helmet. Personally, I may end up buying another Rex for this one, because they look really good together. In closing, I absolutely love this figure. While I am a fan of the Bad Batch and the clones, that wouldn't keep me from telling you all if there were issues with it. My only problems stem from the neck joint and the selection of hands for a sergeant. I'm not entirely sure why a tracker wasn't given the proper hands, which are included with Rex in the 501st, but here we are. The 501st, believe it or not, have more hands than Hunter. I could go on every video about the hand selections, but I'll spare you the time and talk about the figure instead. Hunter's great for what it's worth. Even with a few of its faults, I had fun posing him and filming this video. With that said, I'm giving Hunter a 9 out of 10 for this release. I won't factor in the neck issue because it's probably a QC problem and not really a widespread issue for most collectors. This is Jonathan with Boston Collectors, and as always, if you enjoyed the content, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for future content. Happy holidays to you, and obviously, it doesn't matter what we rate the figure. If you like it, we love it. And we'll catch you on the flippity flop.